Cam Vaughn, dismissed by the Miami Hurricanes a week ago, has filed a lawsuit against the University of Miami. And this is some interesting stuff. Now, I took some time to try to find the lawsuit on the clerk of the court website for Miami-Dade County because it was said that the lawsuit was filed in Miami-Dade County. I couldn't find it. So if it was filed today, maybe it will show up tomorrow, but I couldn't find it typing in his name and just using his last name. So I don't have the lawsuit in front of me. What I do have is the article from On Three and what they wrote about this particular situation. And we're going to jump right in on this topic, man. Welcome back, everyone, to Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Like the video, hype the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, leave your comments, man. Look. You know I keep it raw and unfiltered. And I got to be real. What I'm reading here does not paint the Miami Hurricanes in a good light. I'm just being off before I even start reading this thing off to y'all. It doesn't paint them in a good picture because what it reads to me is petty. And I don't like petty. Just being real, I'm not a fan of petty. If you want to cut the guy, you want to kick him off the team, you want to dismiss him, no problem. But what I'm reading here, not a fan. Let's jump right on in on this thing. Let me share the screen with y'all so you see the article. This is on three. And here we go. Right here. All right. Here is the article. Let me make that a little bit smaller. All right. As you can see, former Miami Hurricane wide receiver Cam Vaughn files lawsuit against schools seeking to enter the NCAA transfer portal. Now let me zoom this thing in some. So as you can see, it says former Miami Hurricane receiver Cam Vaughn has filed a lawsuit against the school and the NCAA in an effort to enter the transfer portal. Um, Vaughn's representatives told On Three's Pete Nakos Vaughn was dismissed from the Hurricanes football program early this month after joining the program in January. Mario Cristobal confirmed Vaughn's dismissal during a Monday morning radio hit. They called it a hit on WQAM last week, ending the former West Virginia and Jacksonville State transfer's time in Coral Gables before ever playing a snap with the Hurricanes. Now Vaughn is taking Miami to court for an opportunity to hit the transfer portal for the fourth time in the last 3 years. Can I stop for 1 second? 4 times in the last 3 years? Folks, what the hell is going on, bro? See, this is where I gotta also question the fucking reality of these guys. Like they are all for sale. Like that is crazy. If you've been in the portal 4 times in 3 years, bro, 4 times in 3 years, I tell you what, we made a mistake in just in taking him at all because we shouldn't have touched this dude with a 10-foot pole. He has a very poor track record, if you ask me, based on what I'm reading there. But let's continue. Raw and unfiltered. Today, we filed suit in Miami-Dade County against University of Miami and the NCAA on behalf of Cameron Vaughn, an accomplished Division I wide receiver who committed to Miami based on its promises of a multi-year scholarship and revenue sharing and NIL compensation. Vaughn's rep Blake Searcy said in a statement to On Three. Now, okay, let's continue. This is where it gets funky. On August 17th, 2026, and I'd love to see the full complaint, Miami dismissed Cam and canceled his scholarship. That is a bad look because I have heard plenty of times where players have been dismissed from the team and their scholarships were not canceled. I don't know where Cam Vaughn currently lives. And I don't know if the Miami Hurricanes gave him time to leave or move out of wherever he was living because this was a week ago. To cancel the scholarship, you typically don't see that, at least in the past. We are in a different world right now of NIL. He's been getting paid since January. How much? I don't know. But he's been there for 8 months, 7, 8 months. He's had to have made, I'm guessing, at least, I'm going to throw a number out there, at least 100 grand. I'm guessing he's made at least 100 grand. Probably more as a transfer portal guy. But they canceled his scholarship with no written explanation. This is alleged. Okay, let's go back. This is alleged. I don't know if this is true or not, but lawyers are not permitted to lie in complaints. So if the lawyer's writing it, this is what the lawyer has been told. If this is accurate, canceling the guy's scholarship with no explanation, no identified rule violation, and no hearing, you typically got to get a school hearing to be thrown out of school, generally speaking, at most universities. Miami then refused to submit the waiver request the NCAA requires so that he can enter the transfer portal, leaving Cam without the ability to pursue his education or a team to play for. We are asking the court to hold Miami and the NCAA responsible for their failures to Cam and grant him the relief he needs so that he can continue his education and career. Now, the rest of this stuff is all semantics. It's all junk. Who cares? This paragraph right here is the one that is bugging me. I already explained my thoughts and gave you my reasons on the canceling of the scholarship. Now you can come back and say, "Oh well, he gets paid. He got paid a whole lot of money to be here. He can pay for his own education if he wants to stay in school here." They would be within their right because back in the day, they had no money to pay for school. These kids were broke, bluntly, and they couldn't pay for school. Now, the one that even bothers me probably even a little bit more is this one here. If this is true, this is grimy. This is a bad look. Miami then refused to submit the waiver request to the NCAA requires. Why would they not do that? I don't understand it. And again, I do not have corroboration. I have not spoken to anyone at University of Miami. I'm only going based on the allegations laid out by the attorney for Cam Vaughn. Why in the world would the Hurricanes, the school, not submit the waiver request that the NCAA requires so that he can enter the portal and leave? I don't understand why you wouldn't get that done. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And if they did that, I think that's a real shitty look. Because what you kicked him out. Okay, let him go. Let him go. Why kick him out if you're not willing to actually let him go? It's weird. I don't get it. Now, there will always be the opinion that people, you know, why there is the opinion that, oh well, these guys, they're just going to file lawsuits, blase blase. If they don't get their way, they don't they're not getting playing time. Look, we all know why he got kicked out. We can sit here and they can talk about all the different things that happened and the things that were alleged, starting from the stuff with him, with him getting into a whatchamacallit, having a traffic violation up in Georgia or whatever the heck happened there, a reckless driving arrest up in Georgia in July. Reality, he wasn't going to get playing time. He was way down in the depth chart, and maybe that arrest did have an impact. I don't know if from what I've read or seen on different things, I'm not sure that he let the Hurricanes know that this happened, or did they find out the hard way, the wrong way? I'm not sure. I would presume that he told them. I don't know for sure, but he wasn't high up on the depth chart. That's what it comes down to. He wasn't high on the depth chart, and that's at the end of the day probably why the Canes were like, you can go, like you're out of here, because we're not going to deal with the bull crap. We're not going to deal with the pouting from a wide receiver who thought he would come in here and start, or get a lot of playing time and now can't get off the bench. And, they're not going to deal with it. So, but I got to say at the end of the day, look, you tossed him, let him go play somewhere else, man. If what has been alleged is true, let him go play somewhere else. Because otherwise, why dismiss him? And I'll leave that question for people to answer. I know there's comments that I'm reading on one of these Facebook pages. All respect, I don't question anything that anyone does. But let me pull it up. It was from Grant. Grant reacts. Big Hurricane fan, and he has a lot of stuff up, and I watch his stuff a lot. And some of the comments from people here, I mean, they're saying, I mean, there's no portal right now, so Miami not signing a waiver for him to enter doesn't matter since there's certainly not a portal to enter. Well, there might be a potential for that if you're dismissed. If you're dismissed from a team and the season hasn't started, there might be a workaround as long as the school signs off on a waiver. I don't know that. The lawsuit can create that potential. That again, that's a possibility. Maybe the lawsuit can create that, or maybe if they just simply sign off on the waiver, that creates it for that particular player. Like he has a week to find a new school, season hasn't started, etc. You know, and obviously this has not been talked about by the Miami Hurricanes yet. I haven't seen anything on it other than a couple of articles. One guy says he's just mad because he couldn't upend Moore and Upshaw. But no, he wants to play football somewhere. So that just sounds ridiculous. Another one says he knows too much. I would hold that transfer waiver. Knows too much about what? Our playbook? What, you think he's going to go sign with an ACC school? Is that the fear? Who cares? Let him go. Who gives a shit? I can know your playbook inside and out. What does it matter? You think they're not gonna change shit up if they're gonna play the team that he goes to? Come on. Someone says, chill, Cam. Another one says, what did he do to get dismissed? Okay, that's done. Another one says, why would Miami do this? Still would like to know why he got dismissed. I was looking forward to seeing him play. He should have to sit out a year. No, he shouldn't have to sit out. I mean, the rules are all bullshit now. Someone did say they should definitely file a waiver for him to get in the portal if they kicked him off the team. Whether the NCAA accepts it or not is none of our business. But Miami also doesn't have an AD right now. Again, these are some of the comments off of the Grant Reacts post, which you can find on Facebook, Grant Reacts. But let me tell you, if they have not filed a waiver and that's preventing him from moving on with his life, they need to file a waiver. Because otherwise, this is just petty bullshit, and it's not a good look. But hey, if this is not accurate, then obviously we don't know the whole story. But I'm going based on what a lawyer has sworn to on a complaint. And, lawyers are sworn to certain things, and whatever it is. But hey, if what is alleged is true, the Canes should sign that, file that waiver, let the kid go. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button, the hype button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.